You want a true American storytelling flow, like someone's reliving every twist of fate right there in your living room. No breaks, no lecture, just real talk. Here goes. You ever watch a $40 million clubhouse get torn to the ground while the feds haul off the folks who built it? I have. And let me tell you, it's a sight you don't forget. You hear people say the law'll catch up one day, but you don't expect to be standing in the Wyoming wind, watching the queen bee of the HOA, the kind who thinks connections can buy her anything, getting marched away in cuffs while her little empire crumbles behind her. That's the story I'm about to tell you. Because these people, they picked the wrong guy to mess with. See, I was out there with my LiDAR scanner, military surplus, the kind you wipe down with an oiled cloth because the dust out here will eat anything alive. I'm not a city kid. My granddad left me this land, 3,000 acres, not just dirt, but a piece of history. Original homestead, 1887, signed and sealed before Wyoming was even a state. Folks like Meredith Thornfield, though they think everything's up for grabs. She rolled up in a white Mercedes G-Wagon, shiny as a diamond tooth, and about as out of place as a steakhouse in a vegan commune. She steps out, blue power suit, helmet hair, all angles and sharp words. Doesn't even introduce herself. Instead, she's poking my old Ford with a golf club, tapping the hood like she's looking for weak spots. Then she turns, voice cold as a January dawn, and tells me to get this junk off her property. Tells me if I don't move, she'll have my cabin bulldozed and send me the bill. Tosses a citation for 50 grand's worth of blight into my truck, just like that. Like she's flicking dirt off her sleeve. Now, you gotta understand, I've seen her type before. The kind who think the world a buffet and everyone else is the help. To her, I'm just another squatter, some washed-up nephew with mud on my boots. She's got her eyes set on turning my family's legacy into a view shed for her millionaire neighbors. She doesn't know who she's talking to. I let her finish her little speech. I look at that golf club, then back at her, then at the citation crumpled on my seat. I didn't know the landfill started valet service, I say. Or are you just lost? Her face twitches, not used to people talking back, I guess. She drops a thick document, fines, violations, all kinds of legal garbage, then spins on her heels and tears off, gravel spitting behind her. She thinks that's the end. She thinks she's scared me. But what she's done is open the fence line, literally left the gate open behind her. I've spent 15 years as a forensic surveyor, the kind who get called into government land wars, digs through old records, lines up satellites, you name it. I see the world in lines and angles. And that fence of hers, it didn't belong there. So I start digging, not with a shovel, but with records, maps, satellite overlays. And sure enough, I find it. Emerald Waters Estates, all their fancy homes, golf courses, the whole deal, their property lines nowhere near where they built their palace of clubhouse. Their dock, their private, residents-only trail, sitting right on Cross Ranch land. And you better believe I documented every inch, took photos, measured lines, the whole shebang. I decide to pay a visit. And what do I find? Meredith and her rent-a-cops, waiting for me. She tries to hit me with more legal jargon, slaps a cease and desist on the fence. Says if she sees me on the lake, she'll have my truck towed. Starts going off about adverse possession, as if mowing a strip of grass for 15 years gives her a deed. She even brags, right there on my voice recorder, about owning the lake, the dock, all of it, not knowing she's just confessed to federal land fraud on tape. Back at the cabin, I start searching for the big guns. Under the floorboards, old family trick, I find a metal lockbox. Inside, the 1887 homestead deed, signed by President Grover Cleveland. That's not just a title, that's the nuclear option, federal land grant, with water rights, mineral rights, the works. I pull out old survey maps, overlay them on modern satellite views, and there it is in black and white. The clubhouse, the septic system, the whole fancy complex built 300 feet over the line. Not even close. And there's something else. A note about a protected wetland, North Marsh, smack in the middle of where their nature trail runs. That gets me thinking, where's all their wastewater going? Their plant's too small. So I grab my thermal camera and go for a midnight hike. Sure enough, I catch it in living color. A bright red trail of heat, straight from their clubhouse into my marsh. They're dumping raw sewage onto my land. And that, my friend, isn't just trespassing, it's a felony. Next morning, they try to close me in. Meredith brings in heavy machinery, drops 3 granite boulders across my only road, and serves me with a foreclosure notice. Tells me my easement expired. I got 48 hours to leave, or they'll cut my power and take the ranch for unpaid fines. She says, it's over. You're done. But it's not over. Not by a long shot. I call him my last favor. Colonel Vance, Army Corps of Engineers. I tell him what's going on. We've got a Class 1 environmental hazard. He gets it. Says he's bringing the marshals. So I spend the day backing up every scrap of evidence. Satellite data, thermal scans, title deeds, 3 copies, physical and digital. I'm not going down easy. That night, I slip out on foot through the timber, gears strapped tight because there's one last piece I need. Down by the HOA's admin annex, I run into Era Vance, the HOA treasurer, shaking and clutching a thick file. She's scared. Says Meredith's talking about burning me out, literal arson. Era hands me a folder. Bank transfers, shell companies, invoices for repairs that never happened, emails about the survey, proof that Meredith's known she was stealing for years. Era says, I cooked the books, Sterling. I can't do it anymore. I tell her, go home. Don't come in tomorrow. Morning comes, and it's not a sunrise, it's an invasion. Federal agents roll up, loaders, black SUVs, hazmat crews, the works. They push the boulders aside like they're packing peanuts. Colonel Vance nods, says, you weren't kidding. I hand everything over to Deputy Marshal Higgins. We walk to the clubhouse. No rush, just a wall of authority moving through the trees. Meredith's in the middle of her victory gala, crowing about removing blight, charging each family $5,000 more for exclusivity. I step onto the lawn, boots muddy, jacket torn. Crowd goes dead silent. Meredith shrieks for security, but the feds shut that down fast. Higgins booms, federal agents stand down or be charged. The guards melt away. I take the stage, plug in my hard drive. On the giant screen, the real boundary, original deed, red lines slicing the property in half. You're standing on Cross Ranch land, I tell them. Then, the clincher, thermal video, showing the sewage dump. For 15 years, you've been pumping waste into a federally protected marsh. That's a felony and a $270 million liability. Emails, wire transfers, Era's confessions, it's all up there. Meredith loses it, lunges at me. Deputy Higgins cuffs her right there on the podium, charges her with fraud, conspiracy, environmental crimes, the whole 9 yards. Her husband tries to run, gets tackled into the champagne tower. The crowd films it all, shock in their eyes. Some start to panic. A man with a kid asks if I'm going to bulldoze their homes. I pause. The clubhouse comes down. The dock's out. The wetlands get restored. But I'm not evicting you. Not one of you. You all got conned. I just want my land healed. I hand out 99-year land leases, $1 a year. The HOA is dissolved. A conservation trust takes over, and families get to stay. The relief is so strong. Some folks cry. They expected a tyrant. They got a neighbor. For the next 2 days, it's demolition time. The Army Corps tears down the clubhouse. EPA digs up the sewage pipe, and the land finally starts to heal. Meredith and her husband, denied bail, looking at 20 years in prison. All their assets seized for cleanup. The wetlands recover. The loons come back. Red-winged blackbirds nest where jet skis used to roar. Colonel Vance drops by, cracks a cold beer with me on the porch. They're calling it the Cross Protocol. He jokes. How to take down a $40 million fraud with a LiDAR scanner and a flashlight. I laugh. It wasn't the gear, it was arrogance. They thought they could bend gravity. Forgot water always flows downhill, and the truth always floats. The sun sets over the lake, peaceful for the first time in years. You want to know what justice looks like? It's not a courtroom. It's the silence after the storm, the land breathing easy, neighbors safe, the truth out in the open. Meredith saw dollar signs. I saw responsibility. We don't own the land. We borrow it from the future. So would you have fought back? Or walked away? Drop your thoughts below. Tell me what you'd do if someone tried to steal what your family built. Because sometimes the only way to beat a bully is to show them the truth and let the world see what they really are. And hey, if this hit home, leave a like, subscribe, or just tell your own story. Justice only works when folks aren't afraid to speak up.